We're going to talk about your decisions today. A little bit later on, we're going to spend some time talking about the decisions made by others and how to encourage that. But for right now, let's talk about you and your decisions. I always locked onto a quote from President Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, that talked about, the best decision that you can make is the right decision. The second best decision is the wrong decision. And the worst decision that you can make is no decision at all. And I've always used that as kind of a barometer of how to measure our decision-making time frame. Now, as we talk about this today, this is going to require some self-reflection on your part and some self-understanding and understanding how you're wired and really looking in the mirror and saying, what kind of decision maker am I? So as we go on, I'm going to refer to a couple of populations here. Those of you that are watching this that are very tightly and quickly wired are going to have a tendency to make some very, very fast decisions. There's some of you that are a little bit more methodical and analytically wired. You're going to have a tendency to make much slower decisions. Now, in each of those cases, I want you to think about the different approach that's going to be necessary. Those of you that are fast decision makers, you'll have a little tendency to be rash and sometimes make decisions that aren't yours to make. And we'll talk about that more in just a second too. Those of you that are a little bit more methodical and analytical, you have a tendency to get buried into information gathering and input gathering, and sometimes will get stuck there and not make a decision. So the answer here, and it's really going to be up to you to know who you are, those of you that are very, very quick decision makers need to learn how to slow down. You need to learn the art of saying, you know what, I'll get back to you in a little bit. Let me think about that a little while, and I'll get back to you by 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's an incredibly important thing for leaders to know and say. In a few episodes, when we introduce a concept about unintended consequences, that'll make that even more clear to you. Those of you that are a little bit more methodical with a tendency to get stuck in analytics and information gathering, you have to start being more comfortable in having percentages of the information available. You're going to have to be comfortable with higher degrees of ambiguity and move into a more rapid decision-making cycle. I wish I had a magic answer for you that, every decision had to be made in 90 minutes or 2 days, but I don't. Bottom line is, if you're a fast decision maker, slow it down. If you're a more methodical decision maker, speed that up. Somewhere right in the middle is the exact correct approach. And the bottom line there is too, you have to make a decision. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about your decisions is always making sure that you're making a decision that is appropriate for you and your level. The last time that we talked about those 3 levels, the strategic, tactical, and operational level. Don't get caught up into making operational level decisions if your organizational level is tactical. Don't get caught up making tactical scheduling, who to hire kind of decisions if your organizational level is really a strategic organizational level. Make sure that you stick to the level that is appropriate for you. Third thing about your decisions that I want to talk about a little bit today is seeking input. A lot of leaders believe that asking for input on a potential decision area or a choice that they're going to make is some kind of form of weakness. And nothing could be farther from the truth. Talking to the people impacted most by one of your decisions is actually a show of great strength and a show of great character on your part. So prior to making a decision that impacts the lives of others, your team members, your customers, other peers, make sure you go out and seek a little bit of input. It doesn't have to be anything large or elaborate or formal, but ask them what's going to happen if you choose this path, or what's going to happen if you make this choice, or what's going to happen if you make no decision at all. Check those things out with the people that are really experts in that area, and those are those key stakeholders. So again, let's make sure that we're working on our decision timing. Let's make sure we're making decisions at the appropriate level, and let's seek some stakeholder input when those decisions have an impact on other areas and other people in the organization.